Welcome back to the B team. So right now, it's Gas and I. Muller is doing soccer stuff. So he is coaching. He's coaching. What is he even coaching? I think he's coaching 14-year-old girls for soccer. And then he's also trying to coach at ESU, which is pretty dope, Gas.
It
But
is, and I'll be filling in the meantime.
yeah, so we might see Muller today, depending on when he shows up. We might not, but me and Gas are going to hold the fort down for the moment, and we're going to just ramble a little bit. I know we have some things we want to talk about. We have free agency. We want to go over just recap all the free agency moves, or maybe just the teams that have the best free agencies and the worst free agencies. And then, obviously, with the news about Lamar requesting a trade for all the Ravens fans, thinking he would return. Dude, he was never returning. But we'll talk about him, maybe get into a little bit of baseball, UFC, something like that, and we'll go from there. So, guys, let's start out with we'll do obviously a lot of free agency moves this year. All teams, not every single person is going to be covered because they're not important. But we'll go through some of the teams that really had a standout free agency. So I'll start with you. It's one team. We'll go back and forth. What's one team that you think had probably the best free agency?
Okay, so I made some rankings here of the teams that did the most, kind of improved the most. And at one, I have Houston. At two, I have Chicago. At three, I have the Lions. At four, I'm going to go Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just keep it at those for right now. Then we'll do like the bottom four too.
Gotcha. I'll throw in some honorable mentions. I know a couple that had a decent one.
Okay, so we'll start with Houston since I had them at number one. I'll go over their key additions and some people they lost, and then we'll just get your opinion on it. So key additions, they got Sheldon Rankins, safety Jimmy Ward, Robert Woods, Mike Boone, running back, Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary, Case Keenum as a backup QB, Chase Winovich,
Wow.
Hassan Ridgeway as a DT, Shaq Mason as a guard, and another wide receiver, Steven Sims.
They got Shaq Mason too.
They got Shaq Mason.
They're going to look like a completely different team. Obviously, they're going to go quarterback, or maybe Lamar's lingering, but that's a really good free agency class. Another receiver / tight end, Dalton Schultz. Like, I know we talked about this last week, but the fact that they got him off a 1-year deal is pretty incredible. I mean, dude, he should have been, I'm pretty sure he should be a top 5 tight end every single year. He's just contributed. He's a really good pass catcher, will be a nice security blanket for whoever's at quarterback. Obviously, Jimmy Ward, Sheldon Rankings as a D tackle, dude, they're going to look way different. And I think they're going to be kind of like last year, or not even, but they're going to be a solid rookie team that's going to go through some growing pains, but they'll definitely, year two, they can explode. I wouldn't say explode, but they could be super good.
They are going to have a new quarterback this year. We don't know who it's going to be. Maybe Lamar to Houston could be something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
D'Amico Ryans to me is going to be a good head coach. They just made a bunch of good additions on the defensive side, so I think we may be taking the over.
I'm on the over.
We may be taking the over.
I'm on the over for that, and I'm an unders guy. I'm going with the over.
Okay, so my team I had at number 2 was Chicago. Key additions: DJ Moore, TJ Edwards, and Tremaine Edmonds as linebackers. At DT, Andrew Billings. Dante Foreman, the running back, Robert Tanyan, tight end, DeMarcus Walker, DT, guard Nate Davis, running back Travis Homer. They brought in PJ Walker to back up Fields, and another linebacker. Did lose David Montgomery though.
For sure, I would consider them like Houston would probably be. The only reason why I probably put Chicago a little bit above them is because of that trade that they made with the number 1 overall pick. Again, they got DJ Moore, I think 2 firsts and a second, or 2 firsts and 2 seconds, something like
that.
But they exploded on that trade, got a crazy haul. The only question I have is where is this going? Because I know with Terrell Edmonds or Tremaine Edmonds and like TJ Edwards, like they give these guys big contracts, 3-4 years. Like, is this going to pay off like in 2-3 years from now when they're really winning. I mean, again, it's a pretty shitty conference when we're looking at it, but I mean, PJ Walker backing up Justin Fields is nice. I think letting David Montgomery go was the right move because they do have Khalil Herbert, and I think the Foreman signing was super solid. I think they're gonna have a nice little running back room there, but it's just a very strange looking team right now. I feel like it's
Yeah.
all really mixed with like veterans and younger guys. But hey, I mean, if they're gonna get some wins, it's got to be soon. I mean, you can't really wait till year 4 and then you got to pay
Yeah.
Justin something. But
But hey, they had a good free agency, brought in a lot of guys on both sides of the ball,
yeah,
stocked up for the draft. So they're going to have a big draft too. Justin's going to have a way better team than he did last year. So
mhm.
I got the Bears at 2.
I think DJ Moore is a very key piece to that team. Hopefully, Chase Claypool can be that wide receiver 2 that they wanted them to be, because obviously he can't be a wide receiver 1. But yeah, no, definitely a great trade again, and they're also looking better to build for the future as well with those future picks. So they're in a good spot. It's kind of like a wait and see how they play. We don't really know.
So the next one, I had Detroit at 3. With their additions, they got David Montgomery, cornerback Cam Sutton from the Steelers,
Yep.
another corner Emmanuel Mosley, a guard Graham Glasgow, he's good, C.J. Gardner Johnson, who's a dog, and linebacker Jalen Reeves Mabin. They also re-signed Alex Anzalone.
Yeah.
Not many huge losses. DJ Chark, Jamal Williams. But I think Detroit got better too.
I definitely.
Building a good core the last few years and definitely got better with this free agency.
Mhm.
We'll see what they do in the draft, but I got them ranked pretty high up there.
I think. I think that trade for DJ or getting or not even re-signing DJ Chark or Jamal Williams is definitely something to look at, because those two were actually, or more so Jamal Williams was really contributing to that offense. DJ Chark was kind of hit and miss, but this is just going to tell that they believe Jameson Williams. They think he could come back and be the guy who takes the top off the defense. However, I still think that defense does need work. I mean, again, they did sign Gardner Johnson. They needed a quarterback bad.
Cam Sutton, the corner.
Cam Sutton as well.
Corner was a big need for them.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Okuda was supposed to be that guy for them, but I feel like he just hasn't lived up to expectations. He's still a starter, but I just don't think he was drafted to be the guy that they wanted him to be. He hasn't really shown it. But if they can just figure out their defense,
Yeah,
they'll be good. And I absolutely love the Montgomery signing to them. I think that
me too.
is an absolutely huge move.
He'll fit right in.
I think he's gonna be a super good running back this year if he stays healthy. I mean, both the thing is with two of those guys, they're kind of injury prone. I mean, we know what Swift's got, but it has to mean something that Montgomery, they signed him. I mean, he has to be RB1. He's fucking planted the Lions for the last couple of years. They know what he's about. So if he can stay healthy, man, this team is really like, I know I keep talking about them, but they just keep making moves and they keep just building for right now. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have Goff, who I think is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC. I know it sounds crazy that I'm saying that, but I strictly believe that he's going to be a super good quarterback. He already showed it. But man, they just keep loading up, and people don't talk about their offensive line enough. They have such a good line just because it's the Lions.
They have everything on the offensive side of the ball, really. They're just working on that defense, but
Yeah.
we got faith that they're going to get it done. We have them at number 3 in the power rankings. Number 4, we got our New York Jets. We talk about them all the time.
Yep.
But that is pending the Aaron Rodgers trade.
For sure.
So we're going to treat it like they've gotten Rodgers, treat their free agency class like they've gotten Rodgers.
The thing is,
our key additions, Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, safety Chuck Clark, McCole Hardman, and we re-signed Greg the Leg.
mm-hmm.
So re-signings, Quincy Williams at linebacker, Solomon Thomas.
Greg the Leg.
We lost Elijah Moore, Mike White, Nate Herbig. But yeah, the Jets brought in some key pieces. They didn't have a ton of cap space to work with, but they did bring in some guys. They did keep building for Rodgers. So they're looking good right now.
Again, the only loss that I really don't like is Herbig, because I think he's proven himself that he can start in this league. However, I think with all this Rodgers stuff, we don't really take a step back and actually look at what Joe Douglas does, because I feel like every single free agency, he just makes all these underrated, very smart and technical moves, like McCole Hardman, a guy to just get in there, fill quotations, fill the role of Elijah Moore, but 1 year, 6.5 mil. I mean, it's such a nice contract for someone who didn't really blossom as a good, like, a receiver to go to for Mahomes, but this could be a nice little reset for him where he can maybe just have those crucial third downs, 2nd and 4s where he gets that first jet sweep, something like that. But another Joe Douglas great free agency class. I mean, he just knows how to sign people. He makes the smart moves of all needs. I feel like Jets Twitter we're not going to hold on this much, but I feel like Jets Twitter knows what we need. Joe Douglas just goes out. I feel like he listens to us because he just goes out and he just signs everyone. It's for like position wise, it's amazing how he does. But again, pending Rodgers, but I like the Allen Lazard signing. I think him and Davis are again a very similar receiver, but it really depends on what they do with Davis. If they actually keep Davis, this is a very good wide receiver room.
It is, yeah, I agree. I wanted Alan Lazard, even if the Jets weren't going to get Rodgers. I
Agreed.
think he was the perfect signing for them. He's a solid guy, good blocker,
Mm-hmm.
but they have the pieces in place now. If they hit on a couple draft picks, get a few starters out of the draft, they'll have Aaron Rodgers and a lot around him. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the worst free agency classes. So at number one for the worst, we have Green Bay. Their only additions: safety Tarvarius Moore and a long snapper. Um, Losses: Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, Robert Tanyan, D tackle Dean Lowry, D tackle Jerron Reed, and a safety Adrian Amos. So they lost a ton. They have Jordan Love to replace Rodgers, but they didn't make any significant moves.
Sounds like a rebuilding team if I ever seen one. I think last year, I mean, for me, seeing them play last year, you knew a rebuild was on the horizon, in my opinion. I thought it was obvious. I don't think they're in any position to win right now.
No, I mean, we'll see how Jordan Love is. If he's a guy who they can build around, that'll be good for them. But they are in a rebuild.
They kind of remind me of the Patriots in the AFC once Tom Brady was gone. I feel like once Brady left, they took Mac Jones and they were like getting ready to start this rebuild and start this journey with Mac Jones, but it really hasn't panned out the way they would. I mean, listen, you really can't count them out because of their Patriots, but I feel like the Packers are following the same trajectory where you have all these teams like the Dolphins, the Bills, essentially the Lions and the Bears, like really coming up, and you can throw the Vikings in there too, and kind of making a name for themselves in that division. So again, it's good. I think it's going to be a rebuilding team. I think a lot of those guys are aging and a lot of them want to get out. I think their time is done.
Okay, so at number two for the worst free agency classes, this really could have been number one. I have LA. The Rams did absolutely nothing. Their only signing was tight end Hunter Long. Let me read you their key losses, though, because there was a lot. Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner, Baker Mayfield, safety Taylor Rapp, their kicker Matt Gay, another safety, a guard, a punter, a wide receiver Brandon Powell, and a corner David Long.
I kind of respect it though because they all went in for a championship and won.
They did.
So I respect that they were like, you know what, we're just gonna go all in. We're gonna win one, and then we're just gonna be shit for the next 5 to 10 years. I get it. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. However, I think Baker was definitely a guy to maybe take a gamble on. I think for some reason I just feel like he still has got it in him, and I think him to Tampa is really good at, like, this is his last chance. But I think same thing with Sam too. We'll get into the Niners because I think they had they didn't make too many moves, but I think they had a solid free agency class, even though they did lose a lot of people. But the Rams, I feel like they're just such a mystery. You really don't know what to expect with them.
McVay and Stafford healthy, could be a good team, but Super Bowl contender doesn't look like it. Falling apart looks like it.
One more thing though, like, I don't know how you feel about Stafford, but I feel like after that Super Bowl win, it was just like a steep decline. Maybe it's just
He
me
got
because
hurt. I
Cup.
think I think he could still be a good quarterback. He's not as old as like Rodgers and all those guys. He's still got Cup. Like McVay is still a good coach. I still think he could be good, but
Mhm.
they're losing a lot.
That line too lost a lot of people. They have a lot of no names. Once Andrew Whitworth was gone, I think that line really took a shit, big time.
Yeah. Okay. So at third now, I have Baltimore. Now, with the news that came out today that Lamar requested a trade,
Perfect
they really
transition.
could be the word. Like they could be number one in the bottom of the power rankings, but we have them at three. Their key additions: Nelson Aguilar. That was it. Key losses: Calais Campbell, who may come to the Jets.
I would love that, by the way.
At tight end, Josh Oliver. Guard Ben Powers. Center.
Big loss, by the way.
And we can add Lamar Jackson to that list.
We sure can.
So yeah, that's looking like a bad free agency for Baltimore.
But you know what though? Again, like this is where I kind of have to give credit. When's the last time we really talked about Baltimore having a shit free agency or having a bad offseason? I can't remember one time where I said that. They've always been at the top with Ozzie Newsome, Joey D. I mean, he didn't really do shit much, but I feel like they always had their stuff figured out when it came to free agencies and whatnot. But I just feel like they played their cards wrong with Lamar. Like I understand why they're kind of worried but I feel like a guy like that you just have to sign now. Well, I don't want to get too much in it because we're going to touch on it, but yeah. So I'll stop there.
Okay.
but yeah, definitely a rough one. Can I mention one as well that I don't think was a really good free agency? Probably every single year.
Okay, I know who I have at number 4 for the bottom 4, but we'll see who you have.
I don't think they'll be there, but I have the Steelers, bro.
Steelers.
Dude, like, what are we doing here? I mean, there's just nothing. Like, nothing is happening. The only guy they signed was old Patrick Peterson, who I don't even know is still good anymore because he's old, and Herbig. Herbig was their only good signing. Besides that,
he's still
like,
nice. He's still solid.
but is that really changing
Not really.
your defense
No.
that much? Like, I feel like we're in a really weird spot here with the Steelers because you got a young guy, Kenny Pickett, you got a young guy, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. I mean, he's not happy being there. He said multiple times he's not been happy. He doesn't feel like he's getting enough targets. Like why? Like what are we doing? I feel like every single year they do this. They just make there's all these big flashy free agency signings, and then they just go like sign one guy that like nobody knows. Like people are asking, who's this guy? Who's this guy? So again, Steelers. But what are we doing here? But that's one of I think they're having a pretty bad free agency.
So at number 4, I have our friends the Buffalo Bills. Key additions: Damian Harris was the biggest one. They re-signed Jordan Poyer, but other than that, not much. Key losses: Tremaine Edmonds,
Huge, absolutely huge.
Isaiah McKenzie, Roger Saffold, and Devin Singletary.
They did Devin Singletary. I mean,
That's whatever.
They
got Damian Harris.
Exactly. So I think they upgraded the running back room. They did re-sign Matt Milano, which is huge. But dude, losing Tremaine Edmonds, that you know who he is. You know how good he is. But listen, Buffalo is in another interesting position now, where I think people are starting to realize that maybe this team isn't what we thought it was going to be. Maybe we're getting held back a little bit. I feel like the players know that they don't think they can make it. I saw something on Ed Oliver too. I think he was kind of hinting about leaving as well. But again, no receivers. I think obviously Jordan Poyer, really good safety. I think he always causes havoc on the field. But yeah, I mean that's just going to be another wait and see right there. I think they're going to be worse. I think they might be second or third and barely making the playoffs. I'll be straight up.
Yeah, it looks that way.
I really think so.
Another honorable mention for the bottom of the list is the LA Chargers. Key addition was Eric Kendricks, a linebacker.
It's a good pickup.
They didn't bring in anyone else really.
Yeah. But again, that's another team where I just feel like the Chargers don't have any fucking clue what they're doing. Like, they have the pieces there. Like, I think Khalil Mack can still play. Obviously, Bosa. Like, Eric Kendricks was a good little pickup. Like, I'll give him credit on that. But just again, like, I just feel like we don't know what we're doing. What's our identity here? Now they're saying that Herbert is going to be more mobile. Why would you want him to be more mobile? Obviously, you want him to get those first downs, but don't you want to protect the guy who's getting shot in the ribs against the Chiefs? Again, losing Rashawn Slater hurt them, but they can be a good team. Now, all this stuff with Eckler came out, but at least they're making a good move trying to keep him, retain him. Like, you can't let a guy like that run. You can't let a guy like that go. No way. That's one guy. Again, running back markets are very different, and it's a very touchy subject on GMs because some feel like you shouldn't pay, some feel like you should pay. That's why you see them all getting tendered. But Austin Eckler is the number one back in the league, has been top 5 to top 3 for years. That's a guy you keep no matter what. You kind of have to not pay him fucking Le'Veon Bell contract with McCagnon, but you give a little extra just because of the work he's put in for you guys. But yeah. And then my honorable mention I'll go back to a good one. I'll talk about the Niners again. The Niners, again, a team that didn't make much. They didn't make a lot of trainings, and the Broncos, I'll get to them too. But Hargrave was probably the cherry on top for their free agency. Having him and Kinlaw and Bosa, dude, that is a ferocious D-line. And Sam, I mean, right now I saw some news that they think Purdy's going to be their starter. I still think Sam makes a little competition.
Sam will be starting at the beginning of the year because Purdy's hurt right now. He's going to have surgery. I don't think he's going to be ready to start the season. But I do think whenever Brock Purdy comes back, it's his team. With what he did last year, didn't lose a game he really didn't lose a game at all because he didn't really play in the NFC chip. But with a performance like that, man, as a rookie,
you got to give him a shot.
Almost undrafted, yeah, he earned his shot.
Now, what do you think happens with Trey Lance now? Because they're in a good position where they could really move off of him if there's a team that's kind of hungry for a rookie.
I think they trade him. Honestly,
I think so too. Yeah, I agree. I mean, what? He I don't think he's played for you. I think maybe a game or two, but I mean, he's coming off of injury. You can really stack up some draft picks and you can go get somebody else. I mean, you're rocking with Brock Purdy if you really think he's the guy. Again, he did what he had to do because that offense is so unique in a way and complex. You really just need a quarterback who could just not turn the ball over and just sling it a little bit. And Purdy showed, I mean, listen, he's still not elite. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do, but can he be the guy there? I think so. I think Sam could be the guy there, if I'm being honest. I will never, you know how I feel about Sam, but shit, they just need someone who could throw it and not turn the ball over, all in all.
For the most part, Brock Purdy was just game managing.
Oh, yeah, game manager.
But there were times where he flashed being like a really good quarterback. He honestly reminded me of like what Zach Wilson was supposed to be. Like, smaller dude, but he can move around. He can move around the pocket. He can throw on the run. He's got a decent arm.
Mm-hmm. There was one game I was watching of him, and I know I'm not comparing them whatsoever, but I saw like with the way he moved throughout the pocket and his like vision, I saw a little Kyler in him. Not gonna lie. Yeah. I mean, obviously not as fast, but the way he kind of just held the ball in one hand, scrambled around, avoided the defensive line, like, and made like some crazy sidearm throw. Like, yeah, I saw a little bit of Kyler in him. Now, that's going to be one player who will be the biggest question just because is he going to be back on that level? Or is he going to start every game and then we'll really see what Brock Purdy is? But I don't know. I like the Niners. I'm rooting for them. And they did lose Mike McGlinchey, which is going to bring me to my next point. Then we'll move on to, do you still have any bad teams?
No, I'm good with all those. We got our rankings out there. We can maybe move on to Lamar after this.
Sure. So one more team I thought had a pretty good free agency was the Broncos because they signed Mike McGlinchey and they also signed Ben Powers. They were supposed to have a really good line coming into the year, but Garrett Bowles, one of their, I think is their right tackle or left tackle, he was down and then everything went to shit when he was gone. But they've just really battled a lot of injuries. I feel like they're the one team that everyone thinks is going to be good every single year, but they just always suck. Like, you got to unleash Jerry Jeudy. You got to get Cortland Sutton the ball. Whoever's in slot, they just signed somebody else. Marquez Callaway, that's another guy they signed if KJ Hamler can't go. Russell Wilson needs to be rejuvenated. They have Sean Payton. I don't think we're talking about that enough. Like, Sean Payton is a very, very good coach. he can really rejuvenate that offense and maybe get Russ to back where he was. I know Muller, I know Muller hates him, but I think he can definitely produce better numbers. Maybe throw him into top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Sean Payton is just a better coach than Hackett. Obviously,
Oh,
it's a
for sure,
better
it's
situation now with
miserable.
that team.
Yeah. So those are all the teams we covered. Any other teams? Oh wait, let's talk one more. Carolina. How do you think that they've done this year for free agency? So they've signed Chark, Thielen, Miles Sanders, and they traded up for that pick.
I think they got some pieces. I mean, they're gonna have what the first overall
Oh, the
now.
first overall.
So
Yep.
let's see who they take, man. I mean, they had a good little free agency class to build around whatever quarterback they're taking. Now they're gonna go get their guy. They got Frank Reich. We'll see what happens. I like the direction they're headed.
They got a young defense, man. J.C. Horn, Derek Brown. You know who's actually been snapping for them? Frankie Louvu.
Has he?
Dude, he had like triple digit tackles for them. He's been like unstoppable. He was almost a Pro Bowler. He was a really good linebacker.
He was solid on the Jets.
For sure. So, real quick, who do you think they'll take at one? Who do you think they're going to take?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young?
I'd have to say.
I don't know, dude.
People are saying Richardson at one. It's not.
I don't think
happen,
they'll.
man.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that.
For Richardson.
For sure, I agree.
But I think Bryce, if you look at his game, he has the best all-around game out of any of these quarterbacks. I love the way he plays the game, but there's the size concern. I think it's a legit concern. But
for sure.
Looking at like just the way each of these quarterbacks play, I like Bryce the most.
I think it's either Bryce or Stroud. I don't think Richardson. I know Richardson because of the Cam Newton comparisons. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
it's going to be Bryce or Stroud, and I'd have to say probably Bryce.
And I think that because of the type of coach that Frank Reich is. I think you could see it with Andrew Luck, someone who can just maneuver in the pocket and throw accurate balls. Like I kind of have to agree with you here. I also think it is Bryce. CJ does maybe I'm going like 75-25 Bryce, but I think you just can't pass on a guy like that. Especially in that type of division, you just have to go BPA at that point.
For sure.
So we'll move on to Lamar now.
Lamar.
All right, Lamar. So again, the news was that Lamar requested a trade on March 2nd. I think me and you and probably a lot of people besides Ravens fans knew that he was gone. They just were kind of in that boat. We're like, no. We got to keep him. We got to keep him. But, dude, it's business. Like I was like that with Sam, too, Sam Darnold. But he wanted out. And even if the Ravens would have matched any type of offer, dude, he wouldn't have played. There's no way. So it's going to be – I don't know where he's going to go. I feel like he is probably the biggest wild card we've seen in a long time because usually players like him who hit the market will – get offers right away. I mean, there already could be offers we don't know about, but what do you think are some teams that can maybe one will offer him something, two would be a great fit?
I think maybe Houston. I could see them offering something. Everybody was saying Washington, but they've said that they don't want to do it. I saw that headline today, so I'm really not sure who wants him. I don't know how big the market actually is for him for teams that want to pay him like whatever he wants. I guess it's like 200 to 250 mil guaranteed. I could still see him actually ending up in Baltimore. I could see them working something out because I don't know who's going to trade for him right now.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like I feel like we haven't been in a situation where somebody wants out, but there's no market for him. Like he wants a certain amount of money, but nobody wants to pay that amount because it's a crazy contract. But I don't know, man. I feel like Lamar, I feel like he is 100% moved on. I think that he just 100% wants to go. And I kind of respect the Ravens for this move, putting the non-tender on him to see what he gets offered. They probably got no offers. But I just don't see that relationship being resurrected because, dude, I think they get worse. I really do. And they're still going to be a good team, but without a quarterback, they will not be. You can run the ball all you want. I don't think they'll be a good team.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe Lamar stays in purple. Minnesota.
I don't know Kirk's contract.
Neither do I, but maybe if they could cut Kirk and still be in like a relatively good cap spot, that could be a destination for Lamar.
Yeah. I personally thought Atlanta was the perfect spot for him just because of Kyle Pitts. You got Drake London there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a very similar situation for like with the Ravens, but I just feel like their pieces are younger and have more potential. I mean, Kyle Pitts was what, the fourth drafted player a couple years ago. Mark Andrews is still that guy. I mean, he definitely took a step back this year, but he's still good. But I'm not that high on J.K. Dobbins. I'm not that high on Gus Edwards, even though he's Staten Island product. Respect, but Tyler Algier is that guy. I will admit that man is good, and it's a very underrated team. It's got a decent defense. I just feel like it just seems right. I mean, they got some picks. They just got to maybe bring in another receiver. But again, would love for the Jets to get him. But did you see all that stuff that they were saying, or Joe Douglas?
So it would be. They're saying it would be in bad faith at this point to go try to get Lamar when the Rodgers deal is probably already done. Well, the deal's not done, but like everything's in place. Like they've told him that he's going to be the quarterback next year. They're trying to get him, so that's been done for a little bit now. Yeah,
it is a very true statement, though. I feel like just because they don't want to negotiate in bad faith, because I feel again that just makes sense, but. Just imagine if we were just all in on him right away. Like we would already be offering him something, and it hurts me because, dude, he could be so good for us.
Dude, how awesome would Lamar be on this Jets roster right now?
Imagine Lamar and Brees in a backfield. That is scary.
Garrett Wilson, Lazard, that top two defense.
So what? So why? Even if this deal, because again, nothing has happened, but. Why do you think it would be in bad faith if nothing has occurred yet, even if shit is already on the table?
Because they signed Lazard, they brought in Hackett, they've made all these moves to bring in Rodgers. Like they're setting everything up to bring in Rodgers, and it's like if Green Bay wasn't being stingy, he'd already be on the team. Like they've made their decision. Their decision is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
This far along in the process, they can't tell one of the best quarterbacks ever, "Oh, sorry, bro. It's gonna be someone else. I guess you got to retire, go host Jeopardy."
But hey, man, it's a business. Like shit. If Green Bay's, but that's the thing though. Where we're everything around Jets Twitter is leverage. Like I get it, but like, dude, this is a business, man. It's not like we committed to this. We have to stick with it. Like, dude, if there's a contract that he would accept, say he accepts $175 million guaranteed, best believe I am giving that to fucking Lamar, 100%. And again, good faith, I get it, but you know what? I think this was a very long-term, like way back, probably when the season ended, they saw Aaron's contract, they were like, we're going to get this guy. They probably knew way before any of this shit happened. Now. But, oh man, like the fact, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a dick, but the fact that I can pivot to Aaron and I can get a guy like Lamar.
I would do it too, but the Jets just aren't going to do it. It's just not going to happen.
And it kills me because that could be a missing piece right there. All our bad O-line can make up for his scrambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what could be? What could be, bro? What could be? I was all over We Ever TV at work, and I just kept seeing Lamar Jets. I'm like, yo, like, dude, like, I can't believe I'm seeing this right now. Like, I thought Lamar's going to be a quarterback for the Ravens until his career was over. And now I'm seeing, should the Jets get Lamar Jackson? Is this actually happening? And I feel like Jets Twitter is just they're ready for Rodgers. Like, I don't know. I feel like with him there, you just got to give him a look. But they probably have. They probably did their due diligence. But shit, man, that's it. I can't wait to see where he goes. I know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Every team should go for a guy like that, but again, not him having an agent and him wanting so much money is going to make this so much more difficult.
Yeah, well, you got anything else?
No, you want to... How much time we got here? Well, I don't know if Muller's coming back, but...
I don't think so.
You got any... Okay, real quick. Anthony Volpe made the opening day roster for the Yanks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that, honestly.
Fire. Absolutely fire, in my opinion. I think he is... I'll touch on a little baseball. Why not? But I can go rant a little bit. But oh my god, I absolutely love the Volpe bringing up to the opening day roster. I think with a guy like that, even Peraza is another guy. He's another prospect, but Volpe is that guy who you can just put at shortstop and just let him play. He's so young. He has so much potential. He had a great spring training. He batted. I think it was close to like 300, but it might be a little too soon, but that's a wait and see. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm really rooting for the guy. I think he's going to be good. Now, hopefully next year we'll have this conversation with Dominguez
Yeah, I mean,
because dude's an alien. But
if he's the player he's supposed to be, the Yanks will be really good. He could potentially save this team, but they need to change. I think Volpe's good. Bring the young guys in. Our farm system's always been good.
it's so funny because when I think about the Yankees, like obviously they're the best franchise sports in history of sports, and I would always think of them as elite, but I see them and I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm not. I got a weird feeling about them. I don't think they're gonna be as good as people say, but I think it's just the stigma of them being the Yankees is why they win. I swear to God.
No, they got to prove it. They're in a position where they definitely got to prove it. I mean, Judge didn't really show up in the playoffs that well last year. And there's been a World Series expectation for how many years now? Like
1908.
I mean, they got to do something postseason this year. They got blown out by the Astros. That was embarrassing.
I mean, listen, I think you got to give credit to them because they're just such a fucking good team. Like, call them cheaters, whatever you want. They flat out just beat everyone this year. They were that good. But, like, I just feel like Judge just did what he had. Even though he did have a bad postseason, he got y'all there. And that's the way we needed, or y'all needed all these other players to, like Josh Donaldson. Fuck, I hate that guy. He's terrible. But, like, guys to kind of just rally around him. Harrison Bader stepped up. DJ, I think he was hurt. I don't even know if he was playing. Nestor, I love him. Garrett Cole, iffy about him, but hopefully he can be back to elite form. If there's one team, I can't believe I'm saying this right now. How much time we got? Do you know?
We're at like almost 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay, last point here. If there's actually one team that does give me the heebie-jeebies, it's the Phils. I don't know why. Maybe I'm falling into the trap of spring training, but dude, Trey Turner has been destroying the baseball right now. Harper when healthy. Schwarber, another guy who's going to get you a nice clutch home run. They lost Gene Segura, but they can make up with that Bryson Stott. They got Bohm. I mean, the only bad part about their team right now is that they lost Rhys Hoskins. So that's going to be a question of who they're going to fill in for that position. Maybe I was here and move Bohm to first, and then I don't even know who they're doing at third or putting at third, but they're a scary team, man. JT Realmuto, if they can just stay healthy, they'll be fine. They're pitching. You got Nola, you got Wheeler, those are some good guys. Taijuan Walker, dude, he's not going to last. Don't get your hopes up over him. He'll probably do good in the first half of the year and then suck. But, yeah, that's a really scary lineup. I think the Braves take a step down, even though they're still really good and really young. Mets, I'm already nervous. I think the season's over before it even started. But they got to prove it. We've had this roster for so long now. McNeil, Nimmo, Lindor, Marte, Pete. These are fucking 5-6 guys that are above average. I think these guys are so good. But why the hell could we not pull it together? Why? Because we're fucking cursed. That's why. The Mets, Jets, Nets, all cursed. Anything that ends in Ets, cursed. But Verlander, Scherzer, Senga, that's a Japanese guy we got. Really intriguing pitcher, and I cannot wait to watch him pitch. Our bullpen, I don't even know. It's always the bullpen. It's always the bullpen. If you don't have a good bullpen, you're not going to win. But yeah, opening day starts Thursday, so that's going to be amazing. Springtime, you got baseball on. You know we hitting up tailgates. Subway Series is a Tuesday and Wednesday, by the way, this year.
Okay.
So we might have to take off for that or something. Because
we should make it out this year.
One in the Bronx, one in Queens. It's a must. So, yeah, I mean, let's hopefully. Oh yeah, also I think we are going to lose game one because we're going against Sandy Alcantara. I think he was Cy Young last year. But dude's a fucking damn good pitcher. And Miami is going to be a little sleeper team. Telling y'all now. They always give the NL East problems. Always, always, always. They could be second or third. Second max. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they can definitely be in those positions. Baltimore Orioles. They're going to the playoffs.
They're not.
They will make the playoffs. They will make the playoffs. Even if it's a wild card or a division, they can make it. The Rays, the Blue Jays we know are fool's gold. We know that.
Yeah, but they'll make the playoffs.
I think the Orioles were right there, bro. They were fucking close. They got a lot of pieces. Well, yeah, that's really all I got. I can't wait. And then obviously we got basketball playoffs coming up, hockey playoffs coming up soon. So it's gonna be great. Yeah, that's really all I got. That was a good episode.
Good pod.
Good pod, Muller. It's okay. We'll have him on next week, hopefully, but we're gonna end it here. So good job, guys. We'll see you guys next week.